Hello everyone and welcome to the fourth C++ tutorial, and in this video we're going to be going over basic inputs and basic outputs again. So we left off on this output, which just types any text or anything out onto your screen, and we know that is C out less than, and in quotations we'll put this is some text. And I wanted to tell you that you don't need this end line at the end, which I'll show you here. And if you only have these two lines, it'll come up exactly how you expect it to. It'll be hello world, and then the next line, this is some text. But if we make another one without the end line, we'll put this should be the third line. We will end that with the semicolon, that statement with the semicolon, and you press build and run. And what's going to happen is it's not going to be three lines now. It'll say hello world, this is some text, and this should be the third line down here. So that's what end line does. Before the semicolons, you type end L, and now if we build and run it, it'll look exactly like you think it will. Three different lines. And by the way, this is the build and run button I keep hitting. So build and run. And like I said, this will be exactly what you think it'll look like. Hello world, this is some text, and now this is the third line. Alright, so that's C out again, and what end line does and what it means. Now that's to get your program to type something out to you. Now if you want to type something back to your program, instead of C out, all you have to do is C in, and greater than instead of less than. Now for all these tutorials, I'll show you exactly what we're going to be using C in for. And right now I'm going to skip ahead for a second and make a variable, which I will explain to you in the next tutorial, but just go with me real quick here. We got cin, we got a variable, and well, that's all we need for now. I'll show you exactly what it does. Hit build and run. Now it will run and say hello world, and now it'll just say blinking, and it'll be waiting for you to type in something back to it. Now since I did an integer or int, I'm just going to type in this, and it does absolutely nothing. It just ends the program after you type it in. But I'll explain that in a minute. But basically this is what we will be using cin for, just to type back to our program. And yeah, that's it. Cin means you could type back into it, and cout means basically it types out to you. Right before I go, I'm going to explain, I'll show you an example of this too. Remember how I said this is important? I'll show you why now since we're on it. We're going to delete that, and everything stays the same. Now let's build and run this and see what happens. Now you see we get an error. We get a red box for an error. Now remember I told you you'd have all, if you didn't type that, you'd need all these STDs down here that you don't want. Yeah, well, this is what I mean. If you don't have that, you have to type in std for standard, then cout, then hello world, then even before end line, you need to type std for standard, end line, and then basically you could run it again, and now it should work fine, and just type out hello world. So yeah, that is exactly why you want to have this, unless you want to be typing std in front of every single thing out here, which we don't want to do. So just keep that, type it like this, and we'll be fine. So cout types out, cin greater than, you could type in. So now let's move on to our variables.